The procession will now begin. We ask that you please stand.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please be seated. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 2026 Investiture ceremony for the Guarini School of Graduate and Advanced Studies. What a beautiful day we have to celebrate the graduates. And we've seen some rainy days in the past. Whether you've traveled from far away or are joining us from just down the road, thank you for being here to celebrate this moment. To our students, congratulations. Today marks the culmination of years of focus, perseverance, and resilience. You faced challenges, some expected and some not. As I recall, for many of you, your first years overlapped with the myriad disruptions caused by the COVID pandemic. Undaunted, you've met every challenge with creativity, drive, and a commitment to research and scholarship. We are so proud of you. To the families, friends, partners, to the families, friends, partners, and mentors who have supported our graduate students along the way, thank you as well. Your encouragement, patience, and belief in them has made a huge difference. Graduates, please take a moment to show your appreciation for the people who stood beside you on this journey. Graduate education is a process of transformation, a time to learn to think in new ways, to ask penetrating questions, and to push the boundaries of knowledge as you tackle some of the world's most complex problems. Over your time here, you've published groundbreaking research, mentored the next generation of scholars, and brought new ideas into the world. That spirit of inquiry, of pushing beyond what is known and expected, is what makes the graduate degrees you've earned so special. As you transition into the next stage of your careers, I know we have prepared you to think deeply, to analyze with care, to act with integrity, and to be an advocate for critical thinking and the scientific process. I really look forward to seeing what you can accomplish. It's now my honor to introduce today's Investiture speaker, Dean Madden, Professor of Biochemistry and Cell Biology and Dartmouth's Vice Provost for Research. Dean is a distinguished scientist, educator, and academic leader whose career has been defined by a commitment to research, teaching, and graduate education. A graduate of Harvard, Dean earned an A.B. in physics and a Ph.D. in biophysics. Over 24 years at Dartmouth, he's built a world-class research program while mentoring generations of graduate students, postdoctoral scholars, and faculty. He's also director of the Dartmouth Institute for Biomolecular Targeting and director of the Dartmouth Cystic Fibrosis Research Center. Dean's leadership has not only strengthened Dartmouth's research enterprise, but has also expanded opportunities for interdisciplinary scholarship and graduate education. Dean's connection to the Guarini School runs especially deep. In 2012, before Guarini was established, He served on a strategic planning committee whose work laid the foundation for establishing a central graduate school at Dartmouth, a vision that was realized in 2016 when the Board of Trustees created a School of Graduate and Advanced Studies that subsequently was named in honor of Frank Guarini in 2018. Over the years, Dean has remained a trusted advisor, partner, and champion for graduate students and postdoctoral scholars. As we celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Guarini School, it is especially fitting to welcome someone whose leadership helped make that vision a reality. Please join me in welcoming Vice Provost Dean Madden.
Thank you, Dean Kuhl, for those very kind words. It's a huge honor and also a great joy to be with you here today. To our graduates, congratulations. This is, as John said, the culmination of an incredible process of discovery and expansion of your minds. To the families who are here with us, to friends and partners, and to our colleagues, welcome and thank you for joining us on this celebratory day. So I want to start this conversation by addressing the elephant in the room. That's the AI elephant, for those of you who are not fluent in Madden-esque puns. So not one word of the speech I'm going to read to you was written by AI. Wasn't reviewed by it, I didn't look for typos. So anything that's wrong with it, you can blame on me. Why does that matter? Well, I think we have to acknowledge that for many forms of impersonal communication, maybe it doesn't, right? Bureaucratic messages that nobody reads anyway, let the AIs take them. But if we want to have personal connection, then you need to write in your own voice. You can't outsource that to an average of the averages system. And we need to continue to struggle and strive and work on our own voices as we do this. Otherwise, speeches like this essentially become performance, where you're reading words that something else has written, however good they may sound. Now, to be fair, individuals who have already developed a professional voice, they can train an AI model to imitate that, and maybe that sounds similar, but it still won't be their original idea. In the hundreds of years ago, classical painters would train apprentices to copy their painting style and to churn out large works of art at a higher rate. But hundreds of years later, we still value the original works of the masters orders of magnitude more than we do of the copies that were generated by their schools, even if only an expert can tell the difference. Provenance matters. The source of ideas matters. The spark of creativity matters. Your voice matters. And so please don't outsource that voice. Cultivate your own vox clamantis. And even do that even if initially an AI text sounds better or fancier, because the advantage of the words you write yourself is that they will sound like you. They will be yours. Okay, so with that out of the way, I want to bring you a personal offering of congratulations today. I promise to be brief, at least by academic standards. So as the Guarini School completes its first decade, please join me first in recognizing that milestone. It's really exciting that Dartmouth has a graduate school. It also means that today's ceremony is a particularly apt time to celebrate the central role of graduate studies and graduate scholars, you, in Dartmouth's academic mission. The establishment of a graduate school and then Guarini, our first new school in 100 years, was a direct recognition that at Dartmouth, you, our graduate students, drive so much of the innovation and the creativity that we celebrate. Often, working in partnership with faculty, often working with each other, and often yourselves leading the way as part of that transformation that John talked about just a few minutes ago. The spike protein found in every COVID vaccine, biofuels and advanced materials that are discovered here, the cancer immunotherapies that are saving lives across the world, solutions to our most complex societal problems. Graduate students were at the heart of all of those discoveries and many more. You are the engines of discovery here. Thank you. Thank you. It's your creativity, your curiosity, your hard work leave a deep positive impact in the world. But as we celebrate the conclusion of your education, I want to ask you to step into a personal time machine, to just sort of think back to your own experience as a graduate student here, and recall a key moment of discovery or inspiration. A moment when you felt the world shift a bit because of something you'd found. For some of you, it may have been a key experiment that gave a result you needed to see. For some of you, it may have been a flash of creative inspiration that unlocked a new path. For others, it may have emerged more gradually and come to a culminating point. But for at least some moment, you or a small group of you working together were the only people on the planet who knew that insight. That's a pretty special thing. That's a really remarkable privilege and experience to have, and I hope that you will that resonates with you, and that you will continue to seek opportunities to push the boundaries to places nobody else has gone before. Now, it's also important to recognize that very few people have the opportunity to engage in this kind of discovery as scholars. But many will recognize, in analogy, the moment when solutions to a thorny problem suddenly became obvious. That could be a mechanical problem, that can be a business problem, or the moment as they stood in awe of something really beautiful. Use that as a bridge. And so what I would ask you as you go forth and you speak today with your family, with your friends, with other people, talk to them about this experience if you haven't done that already. Try to help them, see what it is that we do in the academy, because at this moment, higher ed needs advocates and ambassadors urgently. So as you head out into the world with your new skills and your learning, please stay true to the best elements of your time here at Dartmouth. Stay curious, connect and explore, and stay nimble. And have confidence in your abilities. Not only have you scaled the heights of your academic disciplines and solved problems that no one has before, many of you have overcome personal setbacks along the way, and as Dean Kuhl mentioned, many of you have forged ahead in spite of deep concern about the state of the world and shared adversities. This is a difficult time in many ways, but you have the skills and the resilience and the insights to make a difference and to persevere. Well done. Now I hope you will also continue to seek the personal and intellectual connections that I hope you found here. The only reason I came to Dartmouth 24 years ago was because I had worked with Dean John Kuhl in Germany 5 years earlier. It was John who told me about Dartmouth's unique academic environment, and which I remembered when a position became open in biochemistry. And I would never have been in Heidelberg, where we met, if I hadn't taken a German course in college 44 years ago. Life rarely takes a linear path. I didn't think in taking that course that I would go to Heidelberg or come to Dartmouth, but here I am. And as we stand here together, as Dean Kuhl prepares to step down after 14 years of leadership to return to the classroom and the lab, I'd ask you to please join me in thanking him as well. As many of you know, John's hard work, his vision, and his commitment to student success have played such a critical role in building Guarini. Now, connections, curiosity, and serendipity not only guide one's career choices, they can also powerfully inflect your scholarship. My own research program would have looked very different had I not come to Dartmouth. I had never worked on cystic fibrosis, but in conversations with Bruce Stanton and many colleagues at the medical school and at the university, we recognized intellectual connections that still animate my laboratory all these years later. The value of unexpected intellectual connection is also very important. Ask yourself if there wasn't an unexpected encounter while you were here that helped to shape your own path. And keep looking for new ones. They revitalize your work and they nourish your soul. I want to suggest that if you don't know the person who's sitting next to you, or you're not that familiar on the topic that they worked on, take a moment after this ceremony to just exchange a little bit of information about what you work on. It may just be a piece of information, but it might spark a conversation that will yield dividends. And take that spirit out into the world as you pursue your careers. Finally, in the scholarly tradition, based on the preliminary data that I have just presented, I want to advance a hypothesis. Wherever you land, I suspect you will be surprised when you look back 10 or 20 years down the road at where you are and at the path that brought you there. Of course, this is just a hypothesis, and I'm hoping to gather some more data. So my final request to you is, in 10 or 20 years, please send me an email. I'll be gathering the data set. Okay, so I realize I've just given you a couple of short homework assignments minutes before you receive your diplomas, right? Share a moment of insight with your family or friends, reflect on unexpected intellectual connections, and tell me how my prediction worked out. Sorry, it's an old habit. But don't worry, none of these homework assignments are mandatory. So seriously, cultivating curiosity, connection, and intellectual agility is the best way to prepare for whatever comes your way. Take care of each other and the world, and take time to savor your achievements, especially today. You are doctors of philosophy, masters of arts and of sciences, of energy transition and of fine arts. Show the world what you can do. We can't wait. Thank you, good luck, and congratulations.
Thank you, Vice Provost Madden. We will now confer hoods for our 2026 graduates. Will the students receiving the Doctor of Philosophy degree please come forward?
Stephanie Ann Pochit, Physics and Astronomy, to be hooded by Professor Ryan Hickox. Elizabeth Cook Anderson, Quantitative Biomedical Sciences, hooded by Professor Caitlin Howe. Wayner Jose Barrios Quiroga, Computer Science, hooded by Professor Soo-Young Jim. Catherine Schneider Bochaman, Biochemistry and Cell Biology, hooded by Professor Surache Supatapone. Lisa M. Franco Macaro, biochemistry and cell biology, hooded by Professor Surache Supatapone. Thomas Lassman Botch, cognitive neuroscience, hooded by Professor Emily Finn. Clara A. Sabasegel, cognitive neuroscience, hooded by Professor Emily Finn. Nawat Bunak, molecular and systems biology, hooded by Professors Yashi Ahmed and Arminja Kettenbach. Galini Pimenidou, biochemistry and cell biology, hooded by Professor Arminja Kettenbach. Kayuan, molecular and systems biology, hooded by Professor Yashi Ahmed. Paige Nicole Canova, microbiology and immunology, hooded by Professor David Leib. Kellyanne Cantwell, physics and astronomy, hooded by Professor Robin Milan. Magdalena Louise Moses, physics and astronomy, hooded by Professor Robin Milan. Jia E. Chen, mathematics, hooded by Professor Daniel Rockmore. Ao Chun Wu, mathematics, hooded by Professor Daniel Rockmore. Sarah L. Cornelius, quantitative biomedical sciences, hooded by Professor Erica Moyne. Angelique Nicole Himes Cortez, microbiology and immunology and master science in quantitative biomedical sciences, hooded by Professor Slajan Skopilia Gardner. Zachary Thomas Peters, microbiology and immunology, hooded by Professor Slajana Skopilia Gardner. Hana Nagash Dagufu, microbiology and immunology, hooded by Professor Pamela Rosato. Sierra Ashley Kleist, microbiology and immunology, hooded by Professor Pamela Rosato. Lucas R. Dyke, physics and astronomy, hooded by Professor Hans Mueller. Sixtine Fleury, psychological and brain sciences, hooded by Professor Catherine Nahial. Eileen Garcia Soto, physics and astronomy, hooded by Professor Elizabeth Newton. Oh. You okay? You all right? Okay. Rena Rompali, Physics and Astronomy, hooded by Professor Elizabeth Newton. Joseph Gatto, Computer Science, hooded by Professor Sarah Massoud Prioum. Abigail Goin, Cancer Biology, hooded by Professor Kimberly Samko. Kelsey Allen Hernandez, Biological Sciences, hooded by Professor Eric Schaller. Jacob D. Holt, Biological Sciences, hooded by Professor Kerry Nadell. Minji Jung, Computer Science, hooded by Professor Alberto Quattrini Lee. Min Young Kim, Health Policy and Clinical Practice, hooded by Professors Anna Tostosen and Douglas Steger. Jonathan Tobias Lindblom, Mathematics, hooded by Professor Ann Geib. Hanshu Liu, Cancer Biology, hooded by Professor Brock Christensen. Irma Maricela Vlasic, Cancer Biology, hooded by Professor Brock Christensen. Abigail Catherine Marshall, Molecular and Systems Biology, hooded by Professor Aaron McKenna. Alicia Nicole Petramali, Biological Sciences, hooded by Professor Robert Hill. Timothy James Fossum Rainier, Quantitative Biomedical Sciences, hooded by Professor Jennifer Amond. Joya Zhang, Quantitative Biomedical Sciences, hooded by Professor Jennifer Amond. Anna Vasanina, Mathematics, hooded by Professor Peter Musha. Joel Alexander Wilner, Earth Sciences, hooded by Professor Meredith Kelly. Jiaqi Chu, Chemistry, hooded by Professor Paul Robustelli. Adamar Simard, Biochemistry and Cell Biology, hooded by Professor Dean Madden. Evan Lewis Klein, Chemistry. Van Fung, Computer Science. Madeline S. Grau, Microbiology and Immunology. Minjae Kim, chemistry. Jiawen Lee, earth sciences. Zachary Tihomir Protich, chemistry. Weishir Wan, physics and astronomy. Ira Songju Wu, cognitive neuroscience. Wei Cheng Wu, computer science. Ying Jiaxi, physics and astronomy. Miranda Bliss Samarelli, ecology, evolution, environment, and society. Zhuoran Zhang, chemistry. Yabi Choi, cognitive neuroscience.
Let's have a round of applause for our PhD recipients. We'll now confer the hoods for our master's graduates. Will the students receiving the Master of Energy Transition, Master of Science, Master of Fine Arts, Master of Arts in Liberal Studies, and Master of Arts degrees please come forward?
Degree of Master of Energy Transition, Amy Jessica Fulton, Master of Energy Transition. Khadija Alak, Master of Energy Transition. Fred Buranda, Master of Energy Transition. Trung Quang Dam, Master of Energy Transition. Rebecca Folks, Master of Energy Transition. Maxwell Cowie Goodman, Master of Energy Transition. Carolyn Hansley Mace, Master of Energy Transition. Robert Nicholas Harris III, Master of Energy Transition. Derek Howard, Master of Energy Transition. Shariful Islam, Master of Energy Transition. Paul John Cargo, Master of Energy Transition. Rebecca Cecilia Midland, Master of Energy Transition. Ella G. Reed, Master of Energy Transition. Riley Roach, Master of Energy Transition. Jordan Compton Schisler, Master of Energy Transition. Otto Henry Schmidt, Master of Energy Transition. Matteo Tafuri, Master of Energy Transition. Kritika Uma Shankar, Master of Energy Transition. Run Young, Master of Energy Transition. For the degree of Master of Science, William Philip Denauer, Computer Science. Ding Chong Ding, Computer Science. Carlos Guerrera Alvarez, Computer Science. Seung Hyun Hao, Computer Science. Alexander Wong Menders, Computer Science. Ananya Jayaprakash, Computer Science. Candice Jiang, Computer Science. Reet Yogesh Kotari, Computer Science. Michael Riyad Zaki, computer science. Jacob Stephen Simmons, computer science. Jonathan A. Jarsky, computer science. Jiayi Cindy Liu, computer science, digital arts. Leji Liu, computer science, digital arts. Jamili Raulis, computer science, digital arts. Song Sher, computer science, digital arts. Emma Vicek, computer science, digital arts. Jiayi Shu, computer science, digital arts. Wen Xuan Shu, computer science, digital arts. Angshuao Zheng, computer science, digital arts. Rachel Marie Danzero, molecular and systems biology. And Hannah Randall, earth sciences. For the degree of Master of Fine Arts, Rebecca Abraham, sonic practice. For the degree of Master of Arts in Liberal Studies, Kara G. Afra, cultural studies. Gierji Bachuku, globalization studies. Charles E. Butler Jr., general liberal studies. Jacob Joseph Campbell, creative writing. Abigail Jane Dalries, cultural studies. Caden P. Ida, creative writing. Erin Kelly, cultural studies. Carolyn Kozel, cultural studies. Asa Maralova, cultural studies. Stephen P. Marchand, creative writing. Angela Poncelo Menendez, creative writing. Keanu Moore, globalization studies. Wendy McLeod Murphy, creative writing. Dedina Mwanza, creative writing. Josie Marie Arnold Niebergall, cultural studies. Irina Petrova, creative writing. Jamie M. Phillips, globalization studies. Nicholas Victor Rago, creative writing. Brittany Roden, cultural studies. Denise Itzamar Rojas Baldonado, globalization studies. Shirlyn Sheh, globalization studies. Julietta Jamie Thron, creative writing. Mika Vanderveen, creative writing. Macintosh Bennett Willingham, creative writing. Mindy Marie Wren, creative writing. Chanze Salman, cultural studies. With a degree of Master of Arts, Jocelyn Denise Colombo, comparative literature. Peter T. Damokosh, comparative literature. Marta Yulievska, comparative literature. Clarissa Marie Melendez, comparative literature. Dominic Phillip, comparative literature. Christina Lynn Shea, comparative literature. Mallory Lindsay Wooldridge, comparative literature. Iu Yan, comparative literature. Yi Yukio, comparative literature. Wenyu Zhang, comparative literature. Yazi Zhong, comparative literature.
Let's have a round of applause for our master students. And special thanks to Professor Don Pease for stepping in at last minute to read names for us. Really appreciate that. I'd like to now introduce Susan Roberts, Senior Associate Dean for Foundational Research at the Geisel School of Medicine, who will be presenting the John W. Strobane Award.
Good afternoon, graduates, families, and friends. It's my honor to present this year's John W. Strobane Medal for Excellence in Biomedical Research to Catherine Schneider-Boschemann. Katie, please come to the stage. Katie graduated with her PhD in biochemistry and cell biology in the summer of 2025. And at Dartmouth, her work has been really amazing. She took a disease that's long been a mystery, a prion disease, the cause of mad cow disease and other fatal brain disorders, and turned it into a field where we can now see, measure, and even begin to stop the disease in action. Her research has been brilliant, bold, and impactful, and really quite complicated. She first invented a fluorescent test that lights up the infections, prion disease proteins inside single cells, something that nobody had ever been able to do before. And that breakthrough led her to run the first large-scale genetic screens to ask which cellular genes help or hinder the prion spread. The screen uncovered literally dozens of host pathways that control how much normal protein sits on the cell surface, a key step in the disease. And from those data, she identified 2 separate druggable enzyme complexes. Inhibiting these new targets with specific drugs reduced prion replication across several species and strains, offering promising new therapeutics. Her work has led to multiple first-author publications and a patent submission. But her impact goes far beyond the bench. Her PhD advisor describes her as intellectually curious, courageous, and so supportive. She's the person who spots the key insights into a tough lab problem and shares it generously. She's mentored students, created a flow cytometry assay that other labs used, and dedicated countless hours to STEM outreach for middle school students in New Hampshire. Her ability to connect people across departments and to nurture the next generation of scientists is a model for community spirit for us all. Katie has combined scientific brilliance with mentorship and outreach. She embodies everything that we honor at Dartmouth today. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Katie Beauchemin on this really well-deserved honor.
Our next awards are for the Master of Liberal Arts degree. Will the following students please come forward and join me on stage? Charles Butler, Stephen Marchand, Abigail Dolries, Denise Roya Maldonado, and Caden Ide. Our first Miles Award is for the Byam Shaw Brownstone Thesis Excellent Award, given each year to students who achieve an exceptional level of scholarly or creative accomplishments across the MELS concentrations. The award in General Liberal Studies goes to Charles Butler for his thesis, The Thinnest Veil. Through the story of one woman, Charles depicts both the horrors of the transatlantic slave trade and the redemptive power of love and personal determination. Charles, come on over. The award in creative writing fiction goes to Stephen Marchand for his thesis, Ill. A high school teacher suffering from an unknown illness travels with his wife to Lisbon during a sabbatical year. The result is a vivid, hallucinatory narrative distinguished by sharp observation and literary craft. Stephen. The award in creative writing nonfiction goes to Ren Zhao for The Flow of Ink, a journey through calligraphy, culture, and the self. Blending memoir, fieldwork, and Chinese history, the thesis explores the 5,000-year evolution of Chinese calligraphy and its cultural significance. Unfortunately, Ren was unable to attend today. The award in cultural studies goes to Abigail Dole-Rees for Anesthetizing and Engendering Disease, the Case of Tuberculosis. Through an interdisciplinary approach spanning cultural studies and the medical humanities, Abigail offers deep insight into tuberculosis in 19th century America. The award in globalization studies goes to Denise Rojas Maldonado for Anatomy of an AI Arms Race, the US and China technological dispute for AI leadership. Denise analyzes a strategic competition between the United States and China in artificial intelligence development, highlighting one of today's defining geopolitical challenges. In addition to academic excellence, the MALS program recognizes exceptional service to its community. The Privatera Family Distinguished Service Award is given annually to a student who has achieved exemplary academic performance and has selflessly contributed to the MALS community. This year's recipient is Caden Ide, who not only excelled academically, but also continually worked to improve every aspect of the MALS program wherever possible. His dedication to the program and commitment to his fellow students exemplify the spirit of this award. It's now my pleasure to announce the recipient of the 2026 Guarini Teaching Award. This award recognizes a graduate student who has demonstrated exceptional dedication to teaching and mentoring. Will Kelly Cantwell please come to the stage? Kelly Cantwell is from the Department of Physics and Astronomy. At Dartmouth, Kelly earned a reputation as an outstanding teacher whose enthusiasm for science and strong commitment to her students made a lasting impression both inside and outside of the classroom. Kelly served as a teaching assistant in physics courses ranging from introductory classes to upper-level courses for physics majors. Faculty members consistently praised her contributions and often requested her as a teaching assistant. Her impact on students was equally evident as undergraduate students nominated her for outstanding teaching in 2024 and 2025. Known for her thoughtful approach to teaching and generosity with her time, Kelly created a learning environment in which students felt supported and encouraged to engage deeply with challenging material. Her office hours were exceptionally well attended, reflecting the trust students placed in her guidance and mentorship. Beyond her formal teaching responsibilities, Kelly contributed to science education through mentoring undergraduate researchers and participating in Dartmouth's Rural STEM Educator Partnership program, helping to make science accessible to learners of all ages. Kelly recently completed her PhD and has begun a postdoc at the University of Calgary. Please join me in congratulating Kelly, recipient of the 2025 Graduate Student Teaching Award, for her outstanding commitment to teaching, mentorship, and student success. It's now my pleasure to announce the recipient of the 2026 Hannah T. Crosdale Award. This award honors a graduating doctoral student who exemplifies the qualities of a scholar. These individuals demonstrate intellectual curiosity, dedication, commitment to the pursuit of knowledge, and excellence in teaching. Will Clara Sava Seagull please come to the stage? Clara Sava Seagull is from the Cognitive Neuroscience program. Her research explores one of the most fundamental questions about the human mind: how people derive meaning from the world around them. By combining neuroscience, psychology, and computational approaches, she studies how individuals interpret the same experiences in different ways and how those interpretations shape memory, behavior, and understanding. An exceptionally accomplished scholar, Clara has authored publications in leading journals, including the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. She's earned both a National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowship and a National Institutes of Health Predoctoral Fellowship, and built a research portfolio that has drawn national recognition. This fall, she'll begin an independent postdoctoral fellowship at Yale University's Wu Tsai Institute for Neuroscience. Equally impressive is Clara's commitment to teaching and public engagement. She's been recognized multiple times for excellence in teaching, developed innovative educational programs for learners of all ages, and created opportunities for the broader community to engage directly with scientific research. Colleagues and students alike describe her as intellectually fearless, remarkably generous with her time, and a mentor whose enthusiasm inspires those around her. Please join me in congratulating Clara Sava Seagull on being named the 2026 recipient of the Hannah T. Crosdale Award for her scholarly excellence, leadership, and contributions to our understanding of how people make sense of the world. It's now my pleasure to welcome Dartmouth's Provost, Santiago Schnell, to offer our closing remarks. Provost Schnell is a professor of mathematics who joined us a year ago with additional appointments in biochemistry and cell biology and in biomedical data science. Before coming to Dartmouth, he served as the William K. Warren Foundation Dean of the College of Science at the University of Notre Dame, where he was also a professor of biological sciences and of applied and computational mathematics and statistics. His research explores the biological mechanisms connecting normal function to disease, with a particular focus on developing rigorous, reproducible approaches to measurement and modeling in the biomedical sciences. He's internationally recognized for his contributions to enzyme kinetics, including the development of the Schnell-Mendoza equation. Provost Schnell is a member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences and Letters, an emerging leader in health and medicine designated by the U.S. National Academy of Medicine, and the recipient of the Arthur Winfrey Prize. His broad scholarly impact is reflected in his fellowships across multiple international scientific societies, including the Royal Society of Chemistry, the American Association for the Advancement of Science, the Society of Mathematical Biology, the Latin American Academy of Sciences, the Royal Society of Medicine, and the Royal Society of Biology. He's also served on the editorial boards of 10 leading scientific journals. Please join me in welcoming Provost Schnell.
Thank you, Dean John Knoll, and Vice Provost Dean Madden. Thank you for that address worth remembering. Graduates, you have been patient. You sat through a procession, an address, the conferring of your degrees, and a generous list of awards. And now I'm here, standing between you and the rest of your life. My apologies. But I'm going to keep this brief. I want you to leave with one single idea. Consider the words printed on your degrees that you just have earned. master, and doctor. We say them so often that we have stopped hearing them. But they are very old words. They once meant something exact. They meant teacher. The historian Charles Homer Haskin, who served 16 years as the dean of Harvard Graduate School, traced our universities back to Bologna and Paris in the 12th and the 13th century. Before then, there have been brilliant teachers. But as Haskin liked to point out, a great teacher like Socrates gave no diplomas. What the Middle Ages invented was the credential, the faculty, the examination, the commencement, the degrees, master and doctor. At the very first academic degree was not a reward for what actually you know. It was a license to teach. In Latin, licentia docenti. The logic was simple and exactly right. The surest proof that you understand something is that you can teach it to somebody else. So the words of your diplomas are not ornaments. They are descriptions of work. The Master of Arts was someone qualified to teach the liberal arts. A Doctor of Philosophy, from the Latin word docere, to teach, was a certified teacher of wisdom. For centuries, masters and doctors were the very same word. Chaucer drew his Oxford scholarship into a single line. He would gladly learn and gladly teach. For a scholar, the two, they're never separate. There's something that I really love from this. When the medieval scholar received the license, his very first act was to deliver a lecture. He had to teach at least once, even if he never meant to teach again. Now, most of them did move on. They carry their license into medicine, the law, the church, the trades of the city, and he traveled with them, certifying their mastery on whatever they went. So when I call you teachers, I'm not steering you to a faculty position. I meant something that you will do in the lab, a company, an office, a startup, a family. Bring a colleague up to speed. Help a client to understand a problem. Keep a new hire from a costly mistake. That's your license at work. And this is why we call today commencement. The word doesn't mean ending. It means beginning. This is not the close of your education. It is the day where we hand you the license and we ask you to begin. Here is what I meant for you. You are stepping in a line more than 700 years long and unbroken. Every master, it was taught by another master, who was taught by another one, back to those in the first schools. Dartmouth has been in that link for more than 250 years, and we have been handing doctoral and master degrees for the last 141. You did not arrive here on your own. Look around this great green. Your advisors professed you. Your families behind you taught you things that no syllabus could hold. Someone decided what they knew was worth handing to you. That's the only reason the change still holds. So I'm going to ask you one concrete thing from you. Now that the world is divided and is heavily polarized, this year, teach one person. Do it on purpose. Do it with passion, humility, but the love for another fellow human being. Take one thing that you learn here, one idea, one method, one way of seeing the world, hand it to somebody who couldn't have reached to it without you. Someone on your team, someone just starting out, a younger version of yourself. You will not be able to teach everybody. You cannot bend the world from the podium, but you can teach one person. And when you do, two things happen. Your understanding deepens, because teaching is how knowledge finally becomes yours. And the line holds on for one more generation. To profess means simply to declare openly what you hold to be true. That's what your degree has been for. Not a trophy for the wall, but a commission to pass on. Hats off to you, Guarini, class of 2026. You came here to learn. You live as masters and doctors, which is to say, as teachers. Dartmouth motto names that task. Vos clamentis in deserto, a voice crying in the wilderness. A voice exists to be heard. Now yours exists to teach. Go on and profess.
Thank you, Provost Schnell. Before we conclude, I want to say what an honor and privilege it has been over the past 14 years to help Dartmouth transform an Office of Graduate Studies into the Guarini School. It has been the highlight of my 24-year career at Dartmouth, and I'm very excited to watch the Guarini School continue to evolve under new leadership. Creating something new is a team effort, and today's Guarini School could not have happened without many people. The Board of Trustees who approved it, former President Phil Hanlon, current President Sion Bylock, current and former Dartmouth Provost, and of course, Dean Madden. I also want to recognize the Guarini School staff and offices across Dartmouth who support our graduate students in so many ways. And also my faculty colleagues, those who are here and those who couldn't make it, who have been critical in helping to shape the Guarini School, serving on endless committees, leading research programs, and acting as excellent mentors and advisors. Thank you to all of them. Thank you. Okay. And of course, most importantly, thank you to our students. You are the reason Dartmouth and the Guarini School exist, and Dartmouth would not be a world-class institution without students like you. You continually push us to make the Guarini School better, you challenge us in the classroom, and you amaze us with your discoveries and creations. Now, as Guarini alumni, I ask you to keep in touch. You will always be part of the Guarini community, and I urge you not only to let us know about your successes and discoveries, to email Dean Madden, but keep pushing us to excel. And finally, as you leave Hanover for all corners of the world, I sincerely hope you will take Provost Schnell's advice and continue to teach, advocate for the truth, and strive to make the world a better place. Once again, congratulations. So this concludes our ceremony. Please join us for a reception under the tent in the Life Sciences lawn, about 5 minutes that way. There'll be cold beverages, food, and shade. Will the audience please rise, but remain at your seats for the recessional while we march out? Thank you very much.